I have returned. Wrong thing. God dang it. Okay. There we go. I have returned to the crucible of Mario Kart. Oh, dude. After that last stream, this is gonna be rough. Hold on. Let me go to properties here. Okay, cool. Alright. So, get into the game. As the title of the stream suggests, hold on. As the title of the stream suggests, there is much discourse to be had about things like political violence and insurrectionists in America, and also Joe Brandon, because he's been hitting it out of the park lately. Anyways, but for the first time, I actually have a news article queued up on the tab, so I can talk about what I want to talk about. But first, let's go connect to online and hopefully not get blown the fuck out like I did on Monday, or do, because that's what you guys like apparently, and I'm here for it, honestly. On Monday, I got a little frustrated as I learned the weather actually wasn't as good as I thought it was. Turns out later in the day, it started raining and being real cloudy and wet and gross and seasonal affective disorder. But it probably didn't help that it was Labor Day and people had the weekend available to them, and so that a lot more people were online than usual. I'm expecting there to be much more sparse activity today. I could be mistaken, but I think I recognize one or two of these guys from other sessions I've had. Hey. One viewer. Welcome to the stream. Oh boy. This track is cool. You know what? I'm gonna watch the guy that's in the back. Usually I default to the guy that's in front, so I give some sympathy to the guy that's way stuck behind. It's a rough life out there. Okay, he's lagging a little bit. Seems like these are mostly the Europeans. It's probably they've gotten off work already. But luckily and hopefully for me, this stream will end up being work. Oh wow, he actually came all the way back and got into second place. Oh man. Alright, let's go, Ice. That's, oh, okay, he's lagging. It's all good. He didn't actually fall off. Around that corner. Ooh, very nice. Improvisation. I think that might even be faster than trying to take the big ramp, on that, floating thing. Although if it's not faster, it's most certainly less risky. You don't risk falling off as much. But he's playing it safe. Yeah, looks like this guy's gonna get second. Bravo. Brought it all the way back. Alright. Today's not going to be a gauntlet stream like last time. At least, I don't really intend it to be. What the f is going on Stop being so loud. Alright, negative 40? 40 something? Alright, that works. Sorry about that. It must have been really loud for the folks at home watching. Yes, anyways. No gauntlet this time, but at the end of the stream I am going to test some things that I thought of to see if it would be possible to do a much more smooth gauntlet stream in the future. You know? Let's see. Let's do Daisy's Palace. That track's cool. As per usual, I'm going to keep voting for a track until it gets picked. Windmill Village. Alright. This track is pretty cool, as far as I remember. Anyway. Aha. Nice. I am the only mock bike. That's a little bit concerning. But should turn out okay. Didn't get an item. That's fine. Please don't give that to me. Thank you for not. I haven't gotten an item yet. I'm just trying to focus on driving here. This track is nice. I'm going wide. Yeah. I think I'm gonna chain my star at the next set of boxes. Yeah. Ooh, alright. That's pretty good. Yeah. I'm gonna use this here. I don't know if there's a better spot for me to do it. Oh, okay. Well, that turned out rather well for me. Ooh, not quite. But third is a decent start. Oh wow, these are good VRs in this room too, so I don't have to worry about potentially losing like 200 points in one race. That would really suck. But at the same time, that is going to make this a lot more stressful in terms of just driving. May as well get into the discourse now. So let me open this crew article here. Citizens for Responsible Ethics in Washington. Washington meaning D.C. Santa Fe. A New Mexico judge ordered Otero County Commissioner Coy Griffin to be removed from office effective immediately, ruling that the attack on the Capitol was an insurrection and that Griffin's participation in it disqualified him under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. This is the first time that this has been used in a court of law to actually remove somebody from office. For those who aren't intimately familiar with American law, there is a clause of the Equal Protection Amendment in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, that says that if you have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States, you are not allowed to hold public office. And in this case, the county commissioner, Mr. Griffin there, had participated in January 6th. He was at the Capitol on that day. and the case went before a judge that said, yeah, this is in violation of the 14th Amendment. So it is the ruling of this court that you are to be removed from your office. Which is very interesting and sets, I think, a very important precedent because, you know, if the law is never enforced, is it really a law? You know, you can argue, well, yes, because it is written in the Constitution. What I mean in terms of, like, actual social adherence and whether or not you really have to follow the rule. Oh, wow. A lot of people did that to shortcut. Ooh, almost. Ah, not quite. Blooper. So that was a pretty historic moment there. I think very, very good moment for the United States, because it means that, you know, we can exercise some sort of power to protect democratic institutions. It's not just a foregone conclusion here. Ah, yeah, I had a feeling. Okay. This is actually, despite me being in a not good placement, this is nice. You know, I've been driving all right. I think I know where to use this. And before they use the shock. Ah, not quite. Get me out of there. Oh, that guy dodged shock. Cool. Now, what's imperative to happen if I want to finish in a good spot this race is I need to get an item at this set. Yes. That's not the item I wanted. Oh boy. Well, I didn't drive all that bad. Meh, 7th. So yeah, let's go back to this story here. Yeah, pretty much what I was saying. This is a historic win for accountability in politics. Yeah, and it puts a not super effective, but like existing chilling effect on insurrectionists who are seeking institutional power in the United States. At least it opens up that possibility, which I think is good. Yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, it's still just one drop in a a bucket that's gonna have to be pretty dang full. You know what? We didn't get to play this one last time. Let me try for it this time. In other news, I suppose I could get into this now. Joe Biden made another speech at a rally. I forget where. There it is. Oh yeah, he made a Labor Day speech in which he said a number of pretty based things. One of them being that unions should be expanded, an appropriate message to be putting out on, well, Labor Day. Oh boy, give me that. That's nice. I think this is the first time in a while we've had an openly pro-union president in America. You know, you get that semi-frequently in Europe whenever you get a like a social democrat elected into office, you know. But in the United States, it is definitely a rare sight because of the propaganda campaign that was waged against union membership, and generally just the existence of unions ever since the Reagan days, and especially you know, the Clinton days, and then on into the Bush days, and then Obama didn't really do a whole lot to wage a rhetorical counteroffensive, you know, which is unfortunate. But now things are a little bit different, which is nice. I feel so bad for that guy. He got powed and then redded instantly afterwards. That might have even been the guy that I redded previously. Okay, mushroom. I'm gonna save this for, well, yeah, right here. Ah, I got 6th, despite driving pretty well, I thought. Hey, +1. We take those. Oh, man. This is going to be a fun room if I'm getting +1 for 6th. Very nice. No, screw off, Guardian. But another thing that Joe Biden did at this speech that was substance, I think, and not just style, was that when there was of course there was another heckler, you know, as he would call them, a MAGA Republican, or a Trumpy, as he, I think, coined in this speech. And it seems like people were trying to take the guy out of the venue, and Joe Biden actually, with the microphone, said, no, let him go, let him go on, presumably being what he meant. And you know, he said, this is a democracy. You're entitled to be an idiot. And I could not agree more. You are, in fact, entitled to be an idiot. And I love that the United States president is using the power of the soapbox to basically call his political opponents idiots and say that that's your right. Because it's true. Trump supporters are, in fact, dumb. I mean, it's a little bit reductive, but it is a good shorthand. If you want to know the, like, honest to goodness what I believe, I think they're all, I mean, obviously conservatives tend to be dumber than non-conservatives. That's just a by the numbers sort of thing. But the reason for that is a sort of not being taught critical thinking, and, you know, the sort of demonization of college and higher education. And also because a lot of conservatives are very poor, and education skews wealthy in the United States. So, you know, Dark Brandon does it again. Very cool. I think more than anything right now, I need an item. There we go. Very nice. Ooh, okay. Just gonna take that box. I gained a little bit of time on him, so that's clearly faster. I'm a mock bike, I take that tighter than you can. But that being said, I think it's probably a good idea to just let this guy have first. There was a blue shell earlier, and I know that very well could mean that there's gonna be a blue shell at some point later. Yeah. Yay. I historically have done pretty well on this track because it's a dumb track, not super well designed, and people do not know how to drive it generally. Nice. Third place. You know, now that I've gotten the sort of a little bit of the daily politics out of the way here, that opens me up to talk about another thing that I wanted to talk about, which is theory. You know, leftist theory, incoming leftist meme, just a wall of text. Yes, it is related to the daily politics kind of thing, because it revolves around political violence and how a lot of right-wing groups will engage in political violence to achieve, well, you know, right-wing aims. And the reason that that sort of thing is morally reprehensible is not just because of the violence. Violence generally is bad, just on its own. But you can actually use targeted political violence for good, to achieve good outcomes. This happened a lot during the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s, particularly with more left of center groups such as the Black Panther Party. They would go and engage in property destruction to sort of get the attention of the news media, and to draw attention to the issues they were trying to raise. Be like, hey, you know, you guys are comfortable. You have property to lose. Not everybody is so lucky. And of course, political violence extends into far more than just, oh, the BLM rioters and they're breaking the storefront windows. No, political violence is a very normal part of life in any state, and I'll explain that in just a second as the race gets going here. Oh shit. So, what I mean by political violence is any violence used by a political institution or used broadly for political purposes. You know, in the governing, management, or, you know, politics of a country. And this actually includes passing a law. When you pass a law, there's a reason people say that there's a phrase, under penalty of law, because if you break the rules, which we have come to know as codified laws, you are subject to state-sanctioned punishment. The police can come and arrest you, or you can be stripped of money or property or other sort of resources that you would otherwise have to your name. That is violence. It might be violence that I agree with, you know, because it's in the name of maintaining a certain level of order in society, and ultimately we are more free than not for engaging in that sort of routine political violence. You know, I don't think anybody wants a society where you could murder somebody and not face punishment, you know? Oh, come on. Alright. But yes, ultimately, if you are arrested, that is an act of political violence. That just means that it was, you know, if depending on the crime you committed, it was likely justified. For petty crimes, I don't feel the same way. Because people who typically are wont to commit petty crimes have usually already been subjected to political violence, which can also take the form of not just direct force, but deprivation. For example, somebody living in a poor neighborhood who can't necessarily afford to pay all their bills. Maybe they're working a minimum wage job. Hell, maybe they're working two minimum wage jobs. And that's still not enough to make ends meet. They have to decide, man, am I going to have to forego water or electricity or food for this month, or am I going to have to cut back on this or this essential expense? Things that would be very low on what we would call the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, And that does things to a person. It really does. It can put you in a very desperate situation, very stressful situation, can make you consider things that you otherwise wouldn't, because now you're looking at life not necessarily from a perspective of social participation and whatever, but just from a perspective of material survival. Like, I could potentially starve if I don't do X or Y. And sometimes X or Y means, man, I'm gonna have to shoplift if I want toiletries, or if I want to have 3 meals a day this month. And that is the result of a lot of things, but the shorthand for it is, political violence, or rather the violence of deprivation. It's the sort of stuff that you would hear about. It's in like the banality of evil, Huh. Is the shortcut still here? I wonder. No, it's not still there. Alright. Ooh. Ow. That didn't end well. Okay, cool. What? 1 green shell in 5th. It's kind of wacky. Ooh, guy with a thundercloud behind me. Just gotta keep driving at full speed. He's not gonna catch up. One mushroom. Okay. I'll take it. Ooh, alright. So there are some forms of political violence that are justified, and there are others that are not. And it depends on, whether the consequences of that political violence happening are good or bad. Huh. I tried. Oh, I got him. Dang, I'm so good at passing thunderclouds. What, that guy had a bullet? That's kind of crazy. Alright, I have a red shell in 4th. But to tie it all back to the sort of more daily news angle, the insurrection on January 6th was an unjustified, read bad, act of political violence. Rioters, insurrectionists, what have you, forcefully stormed the Capitol building, and they tried to find and kill their political opponents. And the reason that they did this was also bad. You know, that it just makes the violence worse. They did it in the name of overthrowing $100 if I win. Well, I didn't win, so I don't get the $100. The January 6th rioters tried to overthrow the government of the United States to put a dictatorship in power, one where there would not be free and fair elections. And that is bad. It is bad on its own, but it's also bad for the things that would, you know, follow a right-wing dictatorship, that being oppression of minority groups, stripping of their rights, relegation to second-class citizenship, or worse. You know, I think everybody who reads the news has seen the American Republican Party engaging in genocidal rhetoric surrounding the queer community. Yeah. But if you're using political violence to achieve a better government, if you're using the institutions of government, the power that would grant, what do you mean that's not true? It's literally true. Go crack a fucking book. If you use the institutions of government and the power that grants, thereby the political violence that lets you use, to help people that have been previously disenfranchised, then that is a good use of power. Political violence is just basically the use of power in the context of government. Either people on the outside trying to exert force to drive the government in a certain direction, or the government exercising its regular powers like lawmaking. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. They overtly are. I don't know what country you're from, but in America, they overtly are. The line is as one-to-one as I've literally ever seen it. There's no room for ambiguity here. I mean, when you have pastors and stuff in Texas saying the gays need to be executed, that's genocidal rhetoric. And, you know, there's really no two ways about it. And if you play defense for that guy, then you're part of the problem. You want to do the gay genocide. Okay. Small handful of people. It's the majority of the Republican Party. Also, no left-winger has been calling for conservatives to be killed. What we have been calling for is for your party to be barred from government. That is not the same as killing you. That is eliminating your ability to have an anti-democratic party in government. Don't get me wrong here. There is nothing wrong with having a conservative party in government. In fact, I think that's part of a strong democratic coalition government, is that, you know, you should have a conservative party along with the liberal party, socialist party, etc. But what we have in the United States is not, you know, that. What we have is an ultra-conservative, what academics would call palingenetic ultra-nationalist party in government that is diametrically opposed to democratic values, small d democratic. And the party line, irrespective of how many people actually believe this, the party line is gay people are bad, they're groomers, it's unnatural, and, you know, trans people are the devil. And that only leads to violence against those communities. It can't lead to anything else. So, no. And it's not like the Democratic Party is good. That's not what I'm arguing here. I'm arguing that fascism is bad. I'm not arguing that liberalism or neoliberalism is good, because I don't believe that. And to answer the question of how it's different because the left isn't calling for conservatives to be killed. The conservatives are, however, calling for leftists and mostly queer people to be killed. To the extent that queer people who previously associated with the Conservative Party in America are having to leave the Conservative Party because they've been put in such a hostile, openly hostile environment. You can look it up. The log cabin Republicans in Texas were denied access to Republican Party events. This is a Republican partisan group, but it's for the gay community. And because of that, the GOP in Texas said, no, you're not allowed to be at our fundraising event. Or I think it was like a speaking event or something. That is the state of the right wing in the United States. The right wing here is the equivalent of the far right in France or Germany or Sweden, I guess. That's yeah. That's what's what. Although please don't take that as an indictment of you directly. That's an indictment of the right wing. And of course, it's not an essential characteristic of the people who associate with the right wing. Go for Bioisland here. You know, because a lot of the hateful rhetoric towards queer people is rooted in essentialism. You know, if you are gay, then you are necessarily XYZ. Usually like, sexual predator, blah, blah. Conservatives, as a product of what they believe, are harmful and behave in harmful ways, but that's not essential to them. Oh, right, it's mirror mode. This is a dangerous situation for me to be in right here. Ah, come on. Oh no, I got wheelie bumped. Is it? I'm not in last, there's 2 people behind me. Okay. Oh no, there's 4 people behind me. I didn't know that. Ah, are you kidding me? All of a sudden it's mirror mode and I can't drive. Oh, and one last thing. I'm pretty sure the right wing elsewhere is also routinely engages in anti-queer rhetoric. As far as I know, everywhere hasn't taken it to the full level of genocide yet, unless you're in Hungary, in which case they have sort of gestured at that. Like, the sanctity of the institution of marriage and, you know, generally promoting the institutional disenfranchisement of the gays and such. I'm just not going to go for an item here. Oh, come on! The things I do for content. Oh well. Please don't hit me. Holy shit, that was close. I'm gonna use this here. Hopefully I get a shock dodge. That would be nice, but I don't necessarily expect it to happen. So now we're going over here. Stop bumping me. Jesus. This is Bump Fest 2022. Ah. I'm a fucking genius. I'm gonna get third? That's awesome. Whew. Very intense race. Very intense. I drove so badly. Dang, that guy's pretty close to 9,999. Whew. Sorry about that. I have to catch my breath a little bit. But yes, to recap, political violence on its own, kind of cringe. Political violence in the aims of ostensibly left-wing objectives, such as securing unionization or higher wages or expansive social safety networks provided by the state, is good. Those objectives are good. So that makes the political violence less bad in context. However, political violence in the service of particularly stark right-wing objectives, such as the disenfranchisement of the black community, of the queer community, is bad and is even worse than in other contexts, because it is violence for the sake of even more violence. That's the, I know I did the whole leftist meme where I espoused a wall of text, basically, but that's kind of the few sentences to narrow it down there. Thank you for not owning me with that green shell. I realized you could have. Oh, man. Alright. I'm just gonna go wide here. Whoa. Okay. I didn't get an item. I was just gonna say I need an item, but I didn't get one, so that's unfortunate. It's okay, though. I've actually been driving decently well this race, so that's good. I like how I've been driving. Never usually wants... Oh, come on, dude! No shot. That guy knows I'm streaming. 100%. And I get target shocked. Man, that sucks. Alright. Let's get back in it. Is that a thing you can do without a mushroom? I don't think it is, so I'm not going to risk it. Give me an item. That's not what I wanted, but okay. Oh. I think if I didn't hit those 2 red shells, this would have turned out significantly better. Just at the end there. So if that guy hadn't thrown that shit backwards at me... Come on. You were in a mega, you had every reason to throw those forward. There wasn't shit that I could do to you. Yeah. Oh well. But I am driving better now, which is nice. I had actually picked my thing there, so I'm gonna... You know what? I'm gonna go for this one. Because... I raced it once before, and got pretty blown out, pretty hard. Also, forgot to mention this stream, I am wearing my Kirby Eat the Rich shirt that I got at Super Smash Con. By, what was it? Critical Hit merch. Really cool, guys. You should check them out. I think we got a Super Nintendo track. Yeah, okay. This one, oh boy. Ah. Give me that. Oh, what the... What the fuck is this? Alright, I'm using this. Barely made that. I'm just gonna try to hold second here. Okay, I had a red shell. I didn't even really intend to use it. Eli, as far as I'm concerned, you can have first. You know, I'm gonna not try to make a move against you here. Ah, come on. I messed that part up. Ooh, 3 green shells. Somebody's going that way. Alright. Alright. Hey, at least they got me and this other guy before the item boxes this time. Dangerous situation. Okay. Going to try to hold second here. Oh, okay. In that case, I'll go for first. If there's a blue shell, I can dodge it. Alright, whatever. You can have that. Yeah, makes sense. At least I'll end up getting a box. So it's very, not likely, but still possible that I hold second here. Second. Nice. I haven't gotten first this whole session, which I'm okay with, but second's pretty good. Oh, yeah. All right. Ooh, doggy. Hasn't even been an hour. How many people watching? 2! Welcome to the stream, ladies and gents. Now that there's a lull in the action, I can talk about, I picked up a new book. That is, well, the book itself is not new, but it's new to me. I haven't read it yet. That is The Conquest of Bread by Peter Kropotkin. Book I was looking for when we left town for Labor Day weekend. And started reading it a little bit, and I have mostly positive thoughts on it, on the introduction, that is. He's sort of, Kropotkin is writing about the, I guess the history of the state, or the history of socialism, or something like that. I mean, granted, it's just the introduction, so it's hard for me to get a real picture, but he talked about, what he calls state socialists, which is a term that sort of sets me off. I'm not a huge fan of that term, because ultimately, at the end of the day, socialism and communism are, have the end goal of creating a world where there is no such thing as the state, you know? And it's not to say this is like the anarcho-capitalist vision of the world, because in that brand of anarchism, you still have extremely exploitative enterprise, hierarchical enterprise, in the form of corporations, you know. But who knows? For all I know, he could be mostly just talking about how, you know, the state is bad, but as long as it's here, we should be able to use it to further the ends of the working classes, which is good. That's something that I agree with, of course. I should probably just use this here. It's not really a good place to use it. Okay. Got me back in the action a little bit. Ah, come on. 7th place. Ah, I almost got that guy. No! You gotta be kidding me. You target shocked me in 8th? Jeez, man. Some people. Alright. Let's hope for a good item at this next item set. This is a super front running track. That guy's got first by a mile. Okay, star. That lets me take this shortcut up here, at least. Get out of here. Okay. Okay. Oh no! That mega mushroom got shocked out of me. That's a shame. Whew. Wow. Barely got 5th. -7. We take those. This has been a good room. Very middling performance from me on my part. But that's better than on Monday, where I was getting blown out every single race. What track did I select? Oh yeah, Color Wonderland. Because that's the Kaizo track, and I want revenge on the Kaizo track. I'm pretty sure if I just drive the normal route on that track, and like focus on not falling off, I'll get a pretty decent spot. Oh no, SNES Rainbow Road? That's a different kind of Kaizo. That's the Kaizo that I don't like. Why are people voting for Mario Circuit 1? Christmas Court's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, there's one thing, one prudent thing I should mention that I didn't earlier about political violence is that this is not an endorsement of going out and being violent in service of political aims. Because obviously, if you're doing something that hurts somebody directly, that is really bad, and you shouldn't do that, and that's morally condemnable. But also, you could get in huge trouble for, doing violent shit. So yeah, don't necessarily do that, but don't necessarily dismiss out of hand anybody else that does that just on principle. You know, because it's not the whole picture. No! I knew that would happen. Why did he shock there? Alright, here we go. I'm gonna chain this. I have 3 mushrooms in 4th. I don't think I'm gonna pull a better item. Oh, shit. Okay. I'll just let it go. Whew. Okay. Shock did not happen at as bad of a moment that time. Alright. I know what I'm doing with this. Hell yeah, 2nd place. Oh well. The trend of me doing well on the stupid tracks continues. Next race will have 10 players. Yeah. And I guess this sort of political violence meme on the left, you could really change that out with the exercising of political power. You know, the terms seem kind of interchangeable in some contexts. But regardless, even though it is broadly bad, it is a normal part of life. You know, like when you walk by a cop, you know that if you were caught breaking the rules, then that cop would be within their authority to come and tackle you to the ground or whatever, and then arrest you. Because that's how the state works. And of course, the way this ties into the end of eventually phasing the state out of existence in favor of something like anarcho-syndicalist, communes, is that however hard we want to eliminate coercion, there's always going to be a little bit of that. There's always going to be a social contract by which we have to live. And ultimately, I think that's a good thing. Because, a social contract is when you pretty much agree to not kill each other. And I think that, that's pretty good. Ah, okay. Aha, I know the route, kind of. Huh. I was planning on saving those mushrooms for this shortcut up here, but I guess not. I guess now it's kind of a foregone conclusion, as it were. People are going to pass me here. I'm pretty sure this is faster than going the normal way. Okay. I'm not making the mistake of trying that again. That shortcut up there. Because that never usually ends well for me. I'm kind of racking my brain here to see what I should talk about, or if there's anything that I can talk about, really, I haven't brought up already. Ah. Why do I get the distinct impression that neither of us got a night? Okay, never mind. He got a niner box. But I did not. Ah, come on, dude. You gotta be kidding me. Please let me get a box. Ooh, 6th place. Kind of a odd race. I gotta learn the route on that track. I'm pretty certain I lost quite a bit of time. What else we got in the news cycle? There's the 538 polling, of course, but I don't think there's anything particular. Oh, there is something worth mentioning. Jesus Christ, that Herschel Walker in one poll is now like within the margin of error against Raphael Warnock, which is just ridiculous. I mean, the guy can barely string a sentence together. You know. And I don't say, like, that's not meant to be just a pejorative towards his character or whatever, but in the realm of politics, you're supposed to be a competent orator, and Herschel Walker is not. Raphael Warnock, as much as I do think he's, on the centrist side, is a competent orator. He can actually communicate his ideas. That was a good throw by that guy. Like, I could have put that fake item box back there. He would have, you know, had me dead to rights just about. I don't know how I avoided that guy, but I did. And I'm very happy that I did. Okay. Well, I guess turnabout's fair play. Let's hope I get something good here. Ooh, that's good, but... Ah, come on. For crying out loud. There's that Yoshi that I hit with the shell. Ah. Out of my way, people! 5th. That was a really tight pack, that race. But outside of Warnock and Walker, it still looks pretty good for the Democrats. Although, like I said last stream, that's not step 1. That's not even step 0. That's step -1. When the Democrats are in power, that's step 0. And then step 1 is to start aggressively pressuring them to pursue very left-of-center, economically populist policies. Things like universal basic income, like guaranteed retirement. You know, none of this 403b, 401k bullshit. You know, pensions doled out by the state so that when you turn 65, no questions asked, you can retire. Things like free, tuition-free public college and university. And, of course, you know, community college will be included in that. Things like the infrastructure bill that got watered down until I think it actually died. You know, the United States, among the countries of the developed world, the United States has the worst infrastructure. It is in an abysmal state. We rely so much on roads in America. And roads, think about how often you've been on the road and seen some evidence of, like, disrepair. Like a pothole or, you know, a particularly large crack. Just anything that's like, this road isn't in great shape. You know, that happens so often. And to repair that, they have to shut down that road entirely, which means that now the hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, depending on where you live, can no longer use that to commute to work. And, you know, it slows down the entire economy. And on top of that, the heavy reliance, the over-reliance on roads and cars in the United States makes our emissions so much worse than they need to be. Other countries, such as France, such as I'm assuming the UK as well, from what I've seen, you know, the more safety net oriented social democracies of Europe don't have this problem nearly to the same extent as we do, because they are willing to put money into other forms of transportation infrastructure, such as rail, high-speed rail, or buses. You know, expansive networks of buses for domestic transportation. Granted, international transit in those countries is a considerably different story. There's a whole lot of standards that aren't met or that are different from country to country. Adam Something has done a really good video on that. But yes, when you have 50 people, let's say, or even just 30. Let's say when you have 30 people on a bus that emits more than one car, you are doing exponentially less damage to the environment than if you have 30 people split between, say, 15 cars. And on top of that, cities in Europe are not designed around the use of cars. Things are not so wide and spread out and awkward to navigate like they are in America. Cities in Europe tend to be much more walkable, much more bikeable, and on top of that, bike and pedestrian friendly than the United States. And because of that, everybody in Europe doesn't need to, or everybody in, European cities doesn't need to have a car to get around. You could bike to work, you could walk, you could walk to the bus station and take the bus. So I think it would 100% be worth however many billions or trillions of dollars we want to invest in that to basically make the United States modernized. We really, as weird as it is to say, and of course on top of the transportation infrastructure, I didn't mention that there's also stuff like grocery stores, places that are huge food deserts that needs to be addressed, as well as internet access. The United States, as weird as it sounds, despite being the geopolitical leader in the world, is in desperate need of a modernization project. The United States needs to be brought up to speed with the rest of the developed world. Despite all of our money, this is the richest country in the history of the world. There is no country in history that has had more money than we do right now. I don't know why I voted for the same thing twice. And then, all of a sudden, when that infrastructure bill gets brought up in Congress, after being watered down 4 or 5 times, now all of the Democrats who, were kind of mealy-mouthed on it, and every single Republican are like, oh, how will we pay for it? How will we pay for, $600 billion a year? In infrastructure spending, never mind the 800-something billion every single year that we spend on the military. And in fact, we increase that every year. I think when I first saw that statistic, it was something like 700 billion. Just in the span of 5 years, we have increased military spending by almost $150 billion. And we have done none of that for the infrastructure in this country. Which is a crying shame, if you ask me. I wonder how many people know how to drive this track. I know what he's gonna do. Yeah. How did I know? And it's like, me advocating for that isn't even particularly radical. When people in the United States advocate for Medicare for all, or for, a demilitarized police force, or for tuition-free higher education, this is not a, leftist, socialist, radical, reform that would lead us straight into communism. This is common sense shit. All of Europe, by and large, already does this. In Europe, if you wanted to go to college, it doesn't cost money. The state subsidizes your way through college. The script is now flipped. Same with healthcare. In most European countries, there is a, national health service or equivalent that will provide healthcare to you at no out-of-pocket cost. In the United States, we have insurance to worry about, which means premiums, deductibles, co-pays, all sorts of money that has to come out of your pocket after you've already paid for the medical research that's responsible for the drugs that you need. Your taxes already paid for that. But now, because insurance companies want to make a few bucks, they're, you know, ringing you for all you're worth, and sometimes even more than that. But in Europe, you know, even though there are still, I'm sure, medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, actually no, not I'm sure, there are, and all that, they don't negotiate with their customers on a one-to-one basis. They negotiate with the state on how their shit should be marketed and priced and etc. And then the state buys the insurance or the, you know, the medicine, etc., and vends it out to the citizens through public hospitals and whatnot. And obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of things that I'm missing when I characterize it like that. You know, obviously it's more nuanced than what I've said, and Europe's got its own problems with its healthcare infrastructure. But the model that they operate off of is significantly further ahead than the model that we do. You know, arguments about freedom need not really just need not apply in the realm of medicine. I don't want to have the freedom to either pay $500 a month or $400 a month. I want to have the freedom to go to the doctor without paying money. And it's not just a personal thing either. I think everybody should be allowed to go to the doctor without having to pay money out of pocket. What should I have? Let's see, Jungle Blade. This one's cool. Unfortunately, in the United States, there are significantly sized lobbies in government. I don't know how many people at home know this, but if you are a corporation and you want to advance your, you know, business agenda, you can levy the power of government to do so by putting money in either donating it to Congress people directly or putting it in, you know, dark money sort of organizations, 527s, 501c somethings. I forget if it's 3 or 4. That don't have to disclose their expenditures. And that effectively lets you buy certain politicians. You know, when you say, hey, this is where this money's coming from, off the record, because they don't have to legally disclose it. And then, just by virtue of the politician XYZ taking that money, they are now much more amicable to the positions of that corporation. It's really an unfortunate state of affairs that we find ourselves in, because some of the biggest, in fact, I think the single biggest lobby in American government right now is the pharmaceutical lobby, which keeps people paying, you know, buckets and buckets of cash for, well, not literal cash, but you know what I mean, for their health insurance and for medicine when it comes time for them to take, you know, a prescription drug, or if they get sick. I hit my own fake item box. Oops. But, you know, I could go on for quite a while regarding economic issues and campaign finance issues, stuff that has to do with money, and, you know, where it's being directed, where it's being spent, allocated, who's benefiting from it. But social issues are a very important thing as well. This is something that a lot of people on the left fall prey to, is that they get trapped in either just caring about the social issues, we call those liberals, or just caring about the, I mean, we don't actually, that's not actually what liberals are. Liberals are not a monolith. Or just caring about the economic issues and sort of pushing social issues to the wayside. No, ultimately in the United States there is also, you know, a an epidemic of police brutality against the black community because of so many factors. There's so many things that lead into that. Let's do this one. Chief among them being that the police have very racist origins in, you know, slave patrols. So cracking black skulls is kind of what they do. But, you know, also because of stuff like the crime bill in '94 is an infamous example, practices of broken windows policing, and over-policing black neighborhoods, because it's much easier to catch petty crooks in those neighborhoods than it is in white suburbs where people don't go outside as much. And where comparatively more white-collar crime happens that usually a beat cop wouldn't be on the lookout for. Got him. Put that in the montage. I am actually working on that montage. On and off. Been taking kind of a step back from it lately, but yes. I was saving those mushrooms, but I guess I will have to make do without. Ah, come on! I could have foreseen something like that was gonna happen for sure, but, you know. Dang. Another one of those races, it seems like. No, I still got 7th, even after all that. Dang. Yeah. Also, systemic racism in things like college applications, or which college applications are dumb, for a number of reasons. and in the workplace, in the hiring process. It's been shown through various studies that employers are more likely to pick somebody with a white-sounding name than with a black-sounding name, all else being equal. Which is bad. That's racism. It's the same thing with sentencing. Juries are more likely to give out heavier sentences to black defendants than white defendants, and male defendants than female defendants. A rare example of systemic either sexism in favor of women or against men. Either way, the effect is more or less the same. And with women in the workforce as well, the wage gap, for all else being equal, like same job, same position, same company, just like you swap whether it's a man or a woman holding the position, the gender pay gap is about 5 or 6%. So meaning that women earn about 95 cents for every dollar that a man would earn in the same position. But the real issue comes in the form of the broader picture, where women disproportionately hold lower ranking and more secretarial positions to the more male-dominated, like executive sectors. And this isn't to favor the talking point of like more female CEOs and shit. No, it's just it's a point to indicate that we should reduce the amount of social stigma against women when they are pursuing certain careers. Oh, what? I didn't... Huh. I'm doing much better now that some of the people have left. Oh, dang. Okay. Actually, now is a good opportunity to talk about why college applications are fucking stupid. So for anybody here who has had run-ins or experiences with the higher education system in America, at least I can't speak to other countries because I'm not from there. You need to apply to any colleges that you want to go to, and in order to increase the likelihood that you are picked out of the lottery to be accepted to that college, because we have college selectivity in this country for some fucking reason. Well, actually, I know why, but that notwithstanding, you have to do what's called demonstrated interest. So let's say you've picked out 5 or so colleges that you want to go to, and maybe 3 of these you are very enthusiastic about. 2 of them you're like, I could see myself going here, I guess. But you're not, super psyched about it. But the other 3 are like, oh yeah, these are really great communities. Well, what you can do is go to college events, for prospective students, and take official tours of campus, meet with admissions staff, and meet with alumni from that college, all that sort of thing, to increase the likelihood that they'll say, hey, this guy, he obviously he meets the requirements for our college and what we're looking for, but he also seems genuinely interested. He or she seems genuinely interested in coming here, in attending this institution. And that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with me. I went to a little college in Pennsylvania called Gettysburg College in the town of Gettysburg. And I think I actually did two, I don't know if I did 2 official tours of campus, but I did at least 2 official visits. And every time I did that, I had a pretty good experience. And that resonated with them. And they, I'm assuming because of that, and because I had a decent, pretty decent GPA in high school, you know, grades play a part, accepted me into the college. And that's where I ended up going. However, other places where I didn't demonstrate as much interest in going there were less likely, you know, didn't always accept me. I didn't get accepted to every 4-year college that I applied to. Nor would it be really reasonable to expect that with the way that admissions are right now. But I want to get into why admissions the way they are now are really dumb. And that is because it is a lottery system. You know, after applying and, you know, sort of shelling yourself out to be like, hey, please let me go to this place, please, I've been good and all that, there's a chance that they still just say no, even if your grades are good enough, for any number of reasons. This is where, more than anything, there's a classist bias. There is also a racist bias against students of color. Same thing as with the hiring process. Students with more black-sounding names are less likely to be accepted to 4-year institutions. Unless it's a HBCU, I would, at least I would think. And if not, that's pretty weird, man. I have a feeling I'm probably going to lose this, but I want to go for it anyway. Looks like a couple other folks had the same idea. Oh, what's up, Snoopy? This guy was here earlier. But oftentimes what will prompt people to even start looking into colleges is emails that they get. Colleges, believe it or not, operate like businesses since they charge like businesses. Shocker, I know. So they also recruit like businesses. They send emails to people. You know, if you are part of the, what is it, the Common App? You know, Common Application, or if you're on one college's emailing list, that makes you more likely to be put on other colleges' emailing lists, and you might get emails saying, hey, you know, come visit our college. We have these great 4-year programs and this and this and this other thing. You might be interested in this. And that's pretty cool. But I have had this experience, as have other people, including my sister, where a college has emailed me, which then leads me to apply to that college thinking, oh wow, they seem interested in me as a student, I might be interested in them as a college, I will apply, and then they reject the application. They, you know, say, sorry, you don't fit the criteria, which just doesn't make sense on its face. You wanted me to come to your college, so you can't then turn around and say, sorry, you're not good enough. You know, you demonstrated the interest in me. I didn't demonstrate any interest in you before you reached out to me. And then I demonstrated interest in you, and then you said no. That's not how this whole thing ought to work. Rather, what should be the case is that if a college... this should be law of the land, which sounds really grandiose, but, you know, more procedural than anything. It should be that... if a college is sufficiently interested in the profile of a student to send them a recruitment email, then that is an automatic, acceptance to that college. You know, like colleges should have to be commit to saying, yes, we want you at our college, before they decide to garner your interest in them. especially because college is so damn expensive. Even with the 10,000, 20,000 loan debt forgiveness. What's up, Snoopy? And now imagine a world where what I have described in terms of policy making around college admissions, and then policy making around tuition and payment are both the case, where college does not cost money to attend, and furthermore, if colleges send you a recruitment email, they can't then reject you. You know? So anytime you get an email from a college that says, hey, you should come to our four-year institution, if you apply, that means you get in, and you don't have to pay them out of your own pocket, because this would be, you know, because we already pay, at least on paper, we pay public colleges with tax money. In that world, I'll tell you what we would have. We would have an educated workforce and an even stronger economy than what we have already. Not to mention, probably much stronger democratic institutions, because going to college, you tend to get a lot of political education as well, and that would make you better equipped to understand the political economy of the United States, or whatever country you live in. Yay. Oh wait, I misread that. It's not $100 if I win. It's $100. Can I take the $100 now? I don't know what that money is, but I won, so. In fact, I won a couple of times. So, let's say I haven't fully gotten revenge or anything, but it's looking like maybe some revenge, maybe a little bit of revenge. We do a little bit of revanchism. We don't do that. I don't support that. What a world that would be. You get an email from a college, they say, hey, we saw your transcript or whatever, we would love to have you at our institution, come learn stuff with us. You say, hey, that sounds great, you know, and they say, great, awesome, you'll be enrolled in the fall. And then you go there to school for 4 years, and you learn some shit, you get your 4-year degree, and you walk out of there feeling accomplished. Not being 1 cent poorer for it. How nice would that be? But what that produces is an educated proletariat, which, regardless of whether or not you like that word, that is the word that that Ronald Reagan used, or at least an advisor to him used, when advocating against tuition-free college. Believe it or not, in America, college used to be free. You could go to a public university and not pay a cent. But in the 1980s, there were a lot of student protests over, well, a few things. As there tend to be. You know, colleges are a hotbed of political activism, as well as research and all things, you know, learning related. And what the Reagan administration decided was, we do not want to have an educated proletariat. These are the actual words that they used. You know, and to rephrase it, it is better for us if poor people remain dumb than if they get smart. And that led to a number of neoliberal reforms to introduce tuition payments to colleges, and to strip them of funding, and, you know, basically just do that same two things on repeat in the name of competition, and basically treating higher education like a business to effectively lock poor people out of being able to further their education, which is really unfortunate. You know, when I was at Gettysburg, it was very evident that the majority of people there, myself included, were from upper middle class, you know, predominantly white backgrounds. I mean, Gettysburg being a predominantly white institution, and wealth having the tendency to skew white in the United States. Yeah, it's, you know, pretty plainly evident that college is for people nowadays who can afford to go to college. You know, and when poor people are kept uneducated, they will routinely act against their own interests as a class. For example, there are a lot of Trump supporters who are not wealthy. A lot of wealthy people are Trump supporters because it is actually in their interest to be. But a lot of poor people advocate for such Trump policies as tax cuts, which were only temporary for working class people, but were permanent for rich people. So either, you know, any way you cut it, that's going to hurt poor people. You know, and for deregulations in the workplace, making it easier for employers to crack down on union membership, and things that would genuinely help them get ahead in life. You know? But they hear the word woke, and then all of a sudden, that's when the propaganda network kicks in, and then they're like, oh, that's right. Because of this, and this, you know, that Fox News or whoever has told me, I should be against that. So basically, poor people with no education are poor people who don't usually have class consciousness, or are much less likely to have class consciousness. And that's bad because most people are poor in America. I believe it's something like 56% of people in America are poor. And I know that nobody would make the argument in good faith that 200 million plus people don't deserve a good life. This is America. Everybody deserves a good life. I need an item. That's not what item I need. That is what item I need. Or that is an item that I needed. So nice. It sucks. Okay, cool. That was some really good driving on my part there. I slowed down just enough to avoid the worst effects of that POW. Alright, that's been all well and good and fun. But now I'm going to see if I can't find a different room. Who do we got? Okay. Here we go. I have a feeling these people are going to be good enough to just sort of wreck face. Sort of take me for a ride, as it were. That's going to be interesting. Oh. I need to address something. I realized I didn't really address this earlier when I should have. Although I still think I articulated the point I wanted to decently well. Let me just pick something here. Sure, let's go Pianto Shore. Mumaka, I know, has probably left chat. But when I'm talking about genocidal rhetoric and promoting a genocide against queer people, what I do not mean is that a conservative person somewhere said gays are the devil. On its own, that's just a bigoted person, you know? And not necessarily the most harmful thing in the world. The problem is that, let me wait for the race to start here. The reason that I say promoting genocide here is because that sort of rhetoric is now used by the Republican Party on the institutional stage, which means if they take power, they're going to act on that. You know, if Republicans take power, since most Republican, politicians or would-be politicians believe that gay people are evil and, sexual predators and whatever, necessarily, they are going to try to pass policies and laws that will treat gay people as though they are agents of Satan. And I will give you a hint to what people do to agents of Satan. They typically don't let them live, especially in a section of people that is as religiously driven as as American conservatives. Oh, I didn't get an item. Got him. So yeah. And it's even the rhetoric coming out of the Republican Party these days is actually even more extreme than what I heard when I was growing up, when I was first learning about what being gay was, because there were a couple members of my family who were gay, and I didn't understand what that meant. It was like, what? But he's a boy, and he likes boys. My parents basically just told me, yeah, sometimes that's how that works. And I was like, oh, okay. Not a terribly difficult thing to understand. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, sorry. The rhetoric back then was just sort of was less of a performance. It was less performance art than what we have now, than what Republicans tend to say now. And I mean, like, would-be elected officials. It was like, oh, it's being natural, it's unnatural, it's contrary to what God wants for you, but we love you anyways, blah, blah, shit like that. Kind of patronizing, but ultimately, like, not the sort of thing that's, that they would go around killing gay people over. Nowadays, the rhetoric has amped up to 11, it seems. It seems like every word that the Conservative Party in America speaks against gay people is that of societal and existential threat. Gay people are a threat to your kids. Gay people are a threat to America. Gay people are a threat to da-da-da-da-da. And when you use that language, if people follow through on that language, existential threats to the American way of life, or whatever platitude they invoke, are to be eliminated. So when you draw the line from gay person or queer person broadly to threat to society, threat to your children, threat to whatever, you're basically drawing the line from queer people to they are a threat to they must be eliminated, without overtly stating the end point, because everybody knows the end point based on the second step, but they only take it from step 1 to step 2. And that's kind of how what is it? Plausible deniability or something like that works. It's not exactly, God, I don't know if there's a good word for it. It's not precisely plausible deniability. It's sort of, what it is? That's the term. It's begging the question. It's like when Nazis will use echoes to indicate that, oh, such and such institution is Jewish. And, the in that case, they're sort of leading you from, no, yeah, they're leading you from step 1 to step 2 still. This time from threat to identity instead of from identity to threat. Yeah. Oh, this track is long. Thank goodness it got reduced to 2 laps. So in basic terms, step 1 is identity that you are seeking to demonize. Step 2 is the extent to which you demonize that identity to the level of societal threat. And step 3 is acting on the perception of that threat to eliminate the threat, which in this case means Republicans shit talk queer people, elected officials, that is. Then their base perceives queer people to be an existential threat, and then they start working with their base to pursue action that would eliminate queer people, which is by definition genocide. Even in the world where no single queer person dies, if they are all sent to conversion camp or whatever and put back in the closet, that is still a genocide because you are committing a systemic erasure of them from the planet. You're driving all of them into hiding, effectively. It's like the Carlisle School back in the day. Kill the Indian and save the man. You know? But anyways. I'll probably have time for one more race, and then it'll be the 2-hour mark, and it'll be time to end stream. All right. One more. Hey, with any luck, this race will get, maybe get me above 9,000. That'll be cool. And despite it being cloudy, the weather seems a little bit better today. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit better. And I haven't recovered the full 900 VR that I lost last time, so I can't really call this a full success in getting revenge. But this would be a partial success at the very least. I'm more than halfway back to where I was, which again I have to reiterate was not the point of this this series of live streams. The point was just for me to do Mario Kart racing on stream, with custom tracks, because I think that's a lot of fun, and to talk about politics and things going on in life in America in particular, because I'm American. So I can speak to that, but. Flying Kingdom. I think I know this one, and I think I don't like it very much. I did a Taz of it one time, tool-assisted super play, where I played the game frame by frame at certain points, and did stuff that would be impossible to do by hand. It was a lot of fun. But it was very meticulous, very time-consuming. I'm not sure how much time I would be willing to dedicate to something like that today. What? That's kind of wacky. Alright, I've taken over first here. Alright, item box please, thank you very much. Whew. That was kind of close there to me, you know, kind of getting owned by that fire pillar. Would have been unfortunate. Oh, no. Alright, well, that guy's taking over first. Oops. Hopefully good driving will let me gain some time on this fella. Ooh. Fun. Oh, wow. I can't believe he got that boost panel thing. Oh, well. That's a fine race to end it on, I think. Plus 18. Not quite 9,000, but we take those. Quick game. Alright, and before I leave, I have to remember there was something I wanted to try. So, actually, let me disconnect here from the worldwides. Water. Okay, so last time what I tried to do was I tried to switch over the inputs from for the capture card, but I was not successful. However, this time I enabled something that actually deactivates the capture card when it is not shown. So what I'm going to do is hide the capture card, right? And I'm going to turn off the Wii U. I'm going to be very careful about this. And then I'm going to unplug the capture card. Actually, I will even switch up the scene here. There we go. You guys get to see my room, my surfboard. And I will now unplug the capture card. Like so and like so. Right? Let's see. My camera's still going? Yes, it is. All right. And then I will plug it into my primary monitor over here. Just do a little something like this. You guys are gonna see a little bit of screen shake there. Sorry. Hopefully, is it still working? Yeah, it is. All right, awesome. Now we'll plug this in. Let's hope that I got the flashing lights like I'm supposed to. I don't know if that helps. But anyways, just get that in there real good. Now, I'm going to crack the settings menu here to see. All right, yep, it's registered. And then if I go back to the capture card / stream and turn this on, Eureka! It worked, kind of. I have to resize this, so we'll see here. I'm going to actually... Copyright. Let me just show my desktop here. Sorry, that was a bit of technical difficulties, what we would call leftist tech support or something. All right, so I would deem that a success, right? Let me move this camera over here. Very good, very good. So I figured out, not only did I get partial revenge and have some good discourse, I also figured out the solution to some of my technical ills that I experienced last stream. So with all that said and done, I guess I will leave it here, and I'll see you guys on Friday for the next stream. And I will, you know what I'll do? Maybe I'll put out a poll. I'm gonna put out a Twitter poll to see what game I should do, and whatever game gets picked, that will be this game I stream. But of course, Mario Kart will be on that list. I know you all like Mario Kart, so wrong hand. See you then.